Oh, let's close that as well.
We're live.
There we go.
So we're live.
Yeah, we're live. We're live. It's Feel Inspired Podcast episode 4. So welcome everyone, and we've got a very special guest today. Today is going to be absolutely amazing. This guy we only met for the first time actually 2 weeks ago. I think it was. Yeah, 2 weeks ago it was. Actually, I've been not well, and I just reached out to him and asked for his sort of medical advice. And then we met up for lunch, got really well, and obviously we've got loads in common. Number one being vegan, but obviously other things as well. We're interested in training, health, mind, body, soul, spirit, everything. And so I just said to him, you know what, dude, I've got to get you on the podcast. But also this guy has done incredibly well with his, I mean, you know, I know it's more than physical development, but being a vegan, there was always that stereotype, and it still exists to this day, where you're vegan, so you can't bodybuild, you can't be strong, you can't be ripped and shredded and all this kind of stuff. And
you can't be healthy. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
you're gonna be tired. You're gonna be skinny.
Yeah, lethargic,
deficiencies.
And there was that joke. I don't know if you've ever seen Escape Plan with. They showed a clip in
Arnold,
the Game Changers, where Sylvester Stallone punches him and he says, "You hit like a vegetarian." So that was just a joke.
You hit like a vegetarian.
Yeah, yes, do that. Yes, go on, do that again. That was a good impression. You hit like a vegetarian. I love it. But so all of this still exists. But, you know, I think it's time to rewrite that narrative completely. Yeah. And I would say that this guy is definitely one of those people who is absolutely 100% rewriting that narrative. So so there we go. And so let me introduce this guy first. His name's Dr. Minil Patel.
Yeah.
And please, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share the video as I normally do anyway.
Yeah.
And while you're doing that, why don't you just give everyone sort of a 2, 3 minute, 4 minute introduction about yourself, who you are?
Way too long.
No. There's plenty to share about you. Plenty.
So as you said, I'm a Dr. Minil Patel. I never like saying the doctor part, but I guess even though I've put it in my Instagram and things like that, Dr. Minil Patel. But essentially, I'm 27, live in North London. Currently not training as a doctor, but taking a year out just to teach at King's. Teaching anatomy to undergrads, some postgrads, and all sorts of like students, so medical students,
you carry on.
Dentists, things like that. So that's what I'm doing this year. Apart from being a doctor, I'm very much into my fitness, as Amit mentioned, and recently did a transformation with RNT. So I think a lot of you may have heard of RNT Fitness, and my coach was actually Akash Vaghela, who's actually a really good friend of mine. So that was that's pretty much what led me to you, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
Getting in probably the best shape I've ever been in my life, with the help of RNT, and whilst doing it on a vegan diet. I think that's what was the significant thing for everyone that kind of latched onto that. You know, this guy did it whilst vegan, and I think Akash and the other RNT trainers then got a ton of messages about whether or not going vegan would help them get shredded as well. So I think we explored that in the podcast with Akash, and an article as well that we wrote with him for RNT, that it's not the vegan that got me shredded, but it was obviously the years of training, the hard work, and really just sticking to being consistent diet and things like that. So that's the health and that's the fitness side. Obviously, as a doctor, I'm into my health as well, and more recently, got more and more into nutrition. Growing up, it was never really a huge thing for me. And then even in university, I was exploring nutrition, but very much meat-based nutrition in university. You know, I was pretty much, I think, a self-professed carnivore. Christmas dinners, you'd have to pull me away from the turkey and the chicken. And I was actually in charge of wrapping the pigs in the blankets and everything. Things that I look back on now and I'm mortified at, like, how could I be like that? But I guess, if I was capable of changing and going vegan, I think anyone is. And it's, those people that know me closely, and I think even Akash mentioned this on the podcast, that I was very much a steak lover. He would eat steak for breakfast.
Oh my god, steak for breakfast?
Yeah, this is the thing. So back then we all thought we needed loads of protein to get ripped and stuff. So obviously all of that, and then a lot of things changed along the way. And then 2.5 years ago I went vegan, and here we are now. So I guess now I would say I'm still finding my own journey, kind of thing, but veganism has become a huge part of my life, and I think it's something that I can really use to help people, help the environment, help the planet, and for the animals especially.
Brilliant, lovely. Well, great introduction, and once again, thank you for being here today.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
I thought, well, among many reasons actually, but the veganism is a big aspect, and it's something I've become passionate about over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I think to share that idea of that you can still live in fact, even a more thriving life being a vegan.
Yeah.
And you don't, most people as well, that one of the things that happens is that most people, when they go vegan, before they do, they feel like there's going to be a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah.
And initially you might feel like that.
Yeah.
That I would say dies surprisingly quickly.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you're like, how did I ever do that? And was that your experience, right?
Oh, so I was toying with the idea for a good few months before actually going vegan, because I'd been talking to someone who was vegan, like a friend of mine, and me and her would always have debates about it. And I'd tell her, no, but I need protein, and she'd send me articles on vegan bodybuilders, and I'd be like, yeah, but they probably take loads of supplements. And then she's like, but don't you take supplements? I was like, yeah, I do actually take supplements as well. So I guess that excuse is rubbish.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, but the genetics are better, or the genetics excuse as well. But I guess that's this excuse I was making. Really, when it came down to it, the only reasons I was eating meat was, like habit, convenience. I thought it was really convenient at the time to get, the protein sources, and really pleasure.
Yeah.
It's such a big part of, like, when you're planning a dinner with someone, when you're going out to eat, we eat for pleasure now, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of food would have a lot of, meat, dairy, eggs in it, and you're essentially eating it for pleasure.
Yeah.
So, and I couldn't justify the pleasure aspect of it, really.
Yeah.
So that kind of put the seed in my mind. And then I actually met a vegan girl who I started dating.
Oh, okay, nice. Okay.
So then obviously I knew if I went vegan, everyone would think I went vegan for her.
For her, yeah, absolutely.
And to be honest, it wasn't for her, but I think she helped a lot with it.
Yeah.
Because she kind of showed me that, look, you can eat this, you can eat that, you can cook with this. She gave me kind of the tools I needed, which a lot of people don't have, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people will feel like they can't go vegan because what the hell are they going to eat? What the hell am I going to eat, right? So if you can cook, you're already using vegan ingredients to cook, aren't you? Using spices, herbs, vegetables, they're all vegan. You can eat fruit that's vegan. So then all you need to do is really know how to cook with those things and make the dishes with beans, lentils, things like that. She kind of showed me. And then, so then I kind of ended up going to a sanctuary in Denmark as well.
Oh, did you? Okay,
an animal
cool.
sanctuary. And then I was still eating meat at the time. I hadn't cut down. I probably had cut down a bit, but at the sanctuary is where I really kind of made that connection with the animals. So the sanctuary, the guy who's actually from England who owns it, and he opened this sanctuary in some farmland in Denmark, bought some farmland, and then all the neighboring farms, obviously farming a lot of meat. They love their pork out there and stuff. But he's got like loads of cows, pigs, loads of donkeys that have kind of been discarded and no one wanted them anymore. Chickens, ducks, you name it. He's got all these animals just living in like harmony.
Wow.
And he's just looking after them, and that's his life. He just looks after these animals. And you just look around and you're like, I can't kill any of these. Like, I love animals as well. So I was always an animal lover anyway. But even if you're not an animal lover, if you just look at them, they can feel pain, all this stuff. So I was like, kind of made the connection there. And then when I came home and then I saw this video, so she sent me this video, says, just watch this with an open mind.
Earthlings?
It wasn't Earthlings.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I hadn't even heard of Earthlings at the time.
Oh, okay.
I'd heard of Cowspiracy, and I refused to watch it because I said, if I watch Cowspiracy, that's going to convince me to go vegan. I can't have that. I need my meat. I need my meat.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch Cowspiracy. So I said to her, is this Cowspiracy? Because I don't want to see it. She goes, no, it's a YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's a lecture by this American activist. His name's Gary Yourofsky.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, you heard of him?
I remember.
Gary?
Yes,
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
She goes, just watch it with an open mind. But do me a favor. There's a bit halfway through where he kind of shows animals being, killed, and he's like, "Don't watch that bit because I know you get emotional." I do get emotional, so I was like, "Okay, I won't watch that. I'll just watch what he says and see if I agree." Ended up watching it, and I ended up watching the bit where the animals were being, abused, killed, and stuff like that. And that goes on in farms around the world. It's not a rare practice where animals are mistreated. Even killed. All animals are killed for food, right? So then I couldn't take it anymore, and I went overnight vegan. So your question was, did I find it difficult, kind of, with a kind of what am I going to eat, kind of, because I went overnight, right? At the start, yeah, it was pretty much like that. I was like, well, what the hell am I going to eat? What is there? What can I eat? I just kind of found that there's loads of mock. Some, it's not like now today. There's so many mock
Yeah.
meats available, but at that time there's hardly any, and I would just replace the meat with those mock meats. I did that for a bit until I kind of learned how to cook proper vegan foods. Yeah.
And did you find as well that after you went vegan, that you kind of, did you ever, was there any period or a length of time where you thought you were missing the meat, or you felt like going back, or there was a moment where you thought you might cave and do it? Was there any of that sort of kind of, you know, I don't know, is it regret, not regret, but, you know, just that feeling of wanting to regress back into your old ways?
No, so that's the thing. So like, because my reason was for the animals, I found myself not having those kind of thoughts. Because anytime I saw meat, my mind just flat, and then I ended up watching Earthlings. Yeah. Which, if you guys haven't seen Earthlings, I think every human being should watch Earthlings.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Because you just need to see how we as a species have treated our animal brothers, sisters, friends, whatever you want to call them. They're sharing the planet with us, you know. And I think everyone should see like how we use them. So Earthlings is a really good documentary. So after watching Earthlings and even Land of Hope and Glory, there's no way I could see meat as food, or dairy and eggs as food. So there was never a kind of, I want to cave back to eating those things. But, you know, if someone kind of had a chocolate bar, because it's so hidden, you might be like, I really wish I could eat that. But really at the same time, you're like, actually, no, it's got that rock crap in it, so I'm not going to eat it. But really, no, not with meat or anything like that. Interestingly, is people that kind of go vegan for health and environmental reasons, those people tend to kind of go back. So, you know, you hear about loads of vegans kind of going vegan and then going back to eating meat, or going vegan and then eating meat on the sly, or, you know, when they're drunk, they'll have a chicken wing or something. Yeah, like that.
Of course.
We hear about it all the time, right?
Absolutely.
That was never going to be me, and that was never me anyway, because my reason was for the animals. Okay, so I thought the only time I'll ever kind of go back was if I was in a place where there was no availability. So when I went to the Philippines recently, it was very, very difficult, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll probably end up eating fish when I'm out there. It just didn't happen. I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
I just survived on vegetables, let myself lose a bit of weight, and I thought it's fine. That's a sacrifice. You're talking about sacrifice.
Yeah,
that was a bit of sacrifice that I made out there. Here, I don't think I had to really make any sacrifice.
Yeah.
So that's for me, though.
We're going to get onto your food choices very shortly, actually, as well, because you one thing I love about what you do is you kind of make it look so good as well. But we'll touch again. We'll touch on that a little bit later. But a couple of things from what you said there. About the whole kind of process of transitioning, and you mentioned about like when you do it for the right reasons, for health and for the environment, you realize, you know, even just from the point of view of the compassion aspect as well, it's so much easier than to stay on that path. I was watching, you know, the day Extinction Rebellion, you know, we're on the trains and it was all over the news. The guy got pulled off the train, beaten up a little bit.
We'll talk about that as well.
And there was a guy on there. I don't know his name. He's a vegan activist, and then there was another guy on there who's a farmer, talking about their woes and everything. And he was saying, you know, like, you know, the UK has the most ethically sourced or compassionate. You know, not vegan, sorry, meat, not vegan meat, meat, you know, and this is the way to do humane. That's the way it is, humane, and all this kind of stuff. And I thought to myself, I mean, if there was ever an oxymoron, that was it.
Humane slaughter.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you humanely kill something?
Exactly.
That doesn't want to die.
Thing is, I don't want to be a hypocrite or criticize anyone who's not, because I think, you know what, ultimately you'll come down to your own decision in your own time, and you'll find your own path. But for me, my journey was quite similar to yours in that I've toyed with the idea of going vegan for a number of years. And there was a point, actually, when I first met my wife, I talked about it, we mentioned it, and I said to her, I don't think there's any need to go vegan, really, to be honest, you know, because it was more about health at that point in time. Yeah. More about just, you know, from a health standpoint, I thought maybe, you know, that it would benefit, or it would kind of, you know, be better for us generally. But then I thought, actually, you know what, if you're eating a little bit of cheese here or there, then it doesn't matter. But it was only a couple of years later that I came across, firstly, that lady on YouTube who did that video, Dairy is Scary.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the first time.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the one. I always forget her name, but yeah. And if you've never seen it, it's a 5-minute short video, but it's a real eye-opener and makes you realize actually where your food is coming from, how it's made. Because you know what? It just never occurred to me before. I'd never given it more than a second thought. And I think for me, that was a key piece of the puzzle. Was understanding, actually, hang on a minute, this food is coming from real cruelty, and it doesn't matter how it's done, if they say it's humane or whatever. I mean, I think I don't want to get too harsh on this. I don't want to scare anyone to think.
I'll be the harsh one.
Yeah. We good cop, bad cop over there, right? That's
Yeah.
how we're gonna do it. But I just thought to myself, wow, that's a real eye opener. So that was the starting point, and I didn't do it straight away. And then I started to research more. Saw documentaries like Cowspiracy about 4 years ago. Then I came across What the Health as well, which started to put more of the pieces of puzzle together. So we're talking about the health aspect, the environment was massive. Now that was a huge kicker for me, thinking, holy crap, not only is it inhumane, it's bad for your health, but it's also killing the planet. We want to talk about things that that are killing the environment. That's it is the biggest cause actually of animal agriculture.
It's huge.
Bar none is the biggest source of environmental damage there is, bar none. This is scientific fact now, so there's no disputing that. This is the truth.
Like greenhouse gas emissions alone, I think it contributes about 15 or 20%, something like that. It's quite high.
Enormous. It's huge.
And that's just greenhouse gas emissions.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not even talking about water. We're not even talking about plastic. We're not talking about everything else.
God, yeah, exactly. And so then I saw Earthlings, and that was another big thing. And then it was last year, in around about sort of August time, I thought, you know what, I'm going to really give this a go. I had a few lapses. Temptation was there, and I kind of had, the odd pizza or things like that. And then it wasn't until New Year's Day this year, and I thought, I made a few big changes, one of which was waking up at 5 a.m, and the second thing was going vegan. And I said, right now, as of now, it's 100%. And so I did it. And, I'm sure you're the same, never looked back since. And I think to myself, I've done the right thing. And going back to the original question I asked you, was the temptation. And for me, the big test was, my wife and I were in Vegas. We were staying at the MGM Grand. For some reason, I have no idea, which is completely beyond me, that they didn't, anywhere on the strip, there was hardly any vegan options at all, if any. And the buffet there was nothing. So I went to them and I said to them,
when was this?
August this year.
This year
in
2019. No vegan options.
No vegan options whatsoever.
So the trick.
Get this, right? Got there. You got the buffet. Literally, it's either vegetarian or meat. And I asked them. I said, "Do you specify anything that's vegan?" They're like, they looked at me with blank faces. Basically, they almost didn't know what I was talking about. In Vegas, I'm not even exaggerating.
Man. Show in California instead.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in LA, you can't literally swing a rubber duck and hit a vegan place. I mean, they're everywhere there. And most of the places in the US, this was why I was shocked. And then I saw on the buffet counter, pancakes and waffles and all this kind of stuff, right? And for a split second, I was really tempted. Then I stuck with whatever the vegan options were that I could find as close to
fruit. Probably
fruit wasn't great options. They had 2 or 3 fruits, maybe at most, they didn't look particularly fresh and they didn't taste particularly nice either. I've got to admit.
Yeah.
I ended up just having toast with this bean dish on top as well, and that was it. And that's all I had.
Yeah, beans on toast.
Pretty much beans on toast every single day for breakfast.
I can live on that though, to be honest.
And for $60 as well, but I couldn't live on that.
Oh, right? Wow!
But for $60, and you just think to yourself, "Wow," do you know what I mean? Like, and when the course that we were doing finished, and then we went sort of just outside the strip and slightly on the outskirts of Vegas, we found some delicious vegan restaurants and stuff, and I was in my element in heaven. But that was the one time where I felt tempted. I think where lack of options and just it was there, and I thought to myself, "Oh, that would be so nice right now going down." But it was the only moment of weakness I've had this year. But everything else I've not missed. Now, for me, chocoholic, chocolate lover, proper. I love chocolate. Don't miss it at all, not even slightly. I walk into petrol stations and I don't even get slightly tempted by the chocolate. I don't know if you've seen that brand who do the Kind.
Oh, the Kind.
The Kind bars, They do one which is peanut butter and dark chocolate. The chocolate on that tastes just like normal chocolate.
There's so many now, though.
I know. On bars are brilliant, but you can't get them in most everyday stores. But the Kind ones you can get everywhere now. And if I feel like a chocolate fix, I'll go to one of those. And it's a nut bar with just some dark chocolate on it.
Even 85%. Like I've always had dark chocolate for the last 7 years, 6 years, because I thought it was healthier. Well, it is healthier.
It is, It's higher in zinc and everything as well.
Yeah, it's good for you. It is technically good for you. So, green and blacks always had my back. So green and blacks, and then I've discovered other things now like on bar. There's loads of this.
There is tons, and even before that as well, I used to experiment a lot with. I used to work when I was working in the city. I was not far from a Planet Organic. Planet Organic, Whole Foods.
Love. Both of them.
Yeah.
Oh man. Love them.
And they've got loads there. They've got a love bar, and that one used to come with little
Mm.
quotes in there and stuff as well. So I'd already experimented with buying alternate chocolates
Yeah.
anyway. But it was that for me, which was a big thing.
Mm.
So sorry, that was quite a long-winded way of getting to my point, but I think so.
Chocolate happens. So.
The upshot is I think that if there's something you're considering, I think there's always going to be that element, that moment where you feel like potentially that, you know, oh, I couldn't do it. I'm going to be too tempted to eat all the other stuff that I've always had. You try it and you realize you don't want to go back. If you try the alternatives, give it a week, do a 7-day vegan challenge and see. Veganuary is coming up. Try it for 30
January
days.
is coming up.
Yeah, you know, compassion on both sides, not only for the animals but for you as well. Look, I know it's not going to be an easy journey, but I think it's worth giving it a go, because you might be pleasantly surprised. The new mock meats that are coming out, oh my god, if you miss your meat, you don't have to worry about that anymore. I mean, my wife and I went to Basaba Italy the other day, and they did a soya chicken dish.
Is that Basaba dish? I actually went. So I think when they first came out, there was a not tempura, but these chunks, basically the soya ones. I went with a group of my friends who are all omnivores. They all eat meat. A lot of them actually have cut down a lot since the last few months. A lot of them cut down. But when we went that day, they got the meat version and I got the soy version, and they were just eating the soy version. So I ended up getting 2 more bowls of that.
Brilliant.
Because it was still as nice, and if not nicer, and it was, you know, cruelty free. So
Oh, that's brilliant. That's it's good that people are experimenting, and that's the thing. I think that some people as well, some meat is actually preferring the taste of that now. Because it's lighter. You don't feel so heavy when you have it. You know, it's the focus is not on meat, but the savor. You know, the savories, the flavors, everything, the textures, and so you get to enjoy it more. So I think, you know what, if you're considering, if you're thinking about it, you know, there are so many benefits. There is no loss in this at all. You know, there's still this myth perpetuating around about the fact that it's, you know, going to somehow be detrimental to your health, which is absolute bollocks. You know,
it depends how much you eat.
Of course,
it's always going to depend how much you eat.
I mean, if you're having a normal caloric intake, as you know, a few doctors have said, like, if you're having a normal caloric intake and you just eat a variety, there's nothing that's going to go wrong. You don't even have to worry about supplement. I take one vitamin, especially at the moment. It's the ferroglomin, the fizzy tablets thing, because they're vegan. B12.
So there's
the only thing it doesn't have is D3, but it has B12, zinc, iron, and just a few of the essentials, which I just have to cover all the bases. That's about it. But B12 is the main one, as we know.
So with supplements, I would say that a properly planned vegan diet, you still probably, even an omnivorous diet, I think, regardless whether you eat meat or not, you're going to have to supplement vitamin D3 in this country, just simply because winter's coming and you're not going to get enough sunlight.
Exactly.
So you're going to need vitamin D3 anyway. UK not as bad, but if you're living in certain places, iodine becomes an issue, and vegans don't tend to get as much iodine because iodine comes from seafood. But hey, if you're eating some seaweed, you should get iodine, or iodine fortified foods. So again, in America, they actually fortified all the salt with iodine, the iodized salt, and that got rid of all the iodine deficiencies in America. Because they saw that. So the UK hasn't quite done that, but they've got loads of foods that are fortified with it. So iodine's one. Vitamin B12 is another important one. So that is very essential. People think that, oh, animals make it, so we have to eat animals to get it. It's not the animals that make B12. Okay? It's only bacteria, and certain archaic bacteria can make B12. And this is the thing that is missed by some, because people don't know. Like, nutrition is so, it's not poorly understood, but it's something that the general public just don't have an awareness about, because you're not educated on nutrition in school. You're not. You're given the food pyramid and the healthy food plate. But how much of that is, you know, a little bit of meat there, you got your fruits, vegetables, and you're not actually looking at what's in it. So B12, made by bacteria, found in the soil, animals eat that, and then they assimilate that B12 into their tissues. And then if you eat the tissues, you get that B12. But what are vegans going to do? So back in the day, when we used to eat fruits, vegetables, things like that, you get that bacteria into you, you get good stuff into you like that. Obviously now we clean everything, so we can't get it that way. So we have to rely on either supplements or fortified foods, or actually seaweeds. Some seaweeds have B12 in it. So I've got this seaweed at home, which I only have to have a little nibble of, and it will give me my RDA of B12 and iodine in one go. So I have it every now and then. But so seaweed, it's pretty good. That's why. But again, don't eat too much seaweed, because you can get too much iodine.
And also, not to mention, obviously, there is kind of probably traces of mercury in there as well. So you have to be a little bit, very small amounts.
Not as much as there is in
fish,
big fish.
Yeah, exactly. So so let's move on slightly now to you as the physique, the training, and what he's achieved. I've got to bring up the picture in a bit of, you know, what you kind of achieved in your through your training as being a vegan. So how long has it been now, by the way, since you've been a vegan?
So I've been vegan for 2 years, and I think now it'll be about 6 months.
And when did you do your shred?
So that was really recent, actually, from around end of May, June-ish to or like end of August. So it's a 13-week period.
I'll bring that up in a second as well. So obviously you decided, right, first you decided I'm going to go vegan. And did you at any point as well feel like, oh, maybe I won't be able to achieve the physical goals that I want?
So
the health, let's just talk about kind of physical definition goals.
So 2 years ago, I sat down with a friend of mine who's a nutritionist. He lives in Portugal. He was actually a nutritionist for a football team, and he was very much in his fitness. So I sat down with him and I said, surely meat and stuff like a bit of that is optimal for bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Like that. And he said to me, well, it depends on what your reason is going to be and the sacrifices you're willing to make. So I thought, at the time, maybe I will be having to sacrifice my physique and things like that to go vegan. But the more I looked at all these, vegan bodybuilders, strongmen and things like that, I thought, I don't
just get rid of this.
Yeah, go for it. So I was like, actually, it should be okay. Okay, I just need to make sure I eat enough protein. Obviously, protein is what it was on my mind at the time. So as long as I eat enough protein, eat enough calories, I'll be okay. So I carried on my training, and I was actually still getting stronger. So I was like, maybe there's not much to this. The thing that I, in my head, found difficult was, how am I going to get shredded? Because a vegan diet is very heavy in carbs. And my entire life, well, not my entire life, but entire training career, I'd always thought that you need to eat low carbs to get shredded. You need, the ketogenic diet, low carb diet, keep your fats high and proteins high, and your own fat will melt off. That was in my head. Because I'd done not a shred, but I got lean before. And during that period, I'd gone completely zero carb for like a good 10 weeks. It was a 12-week period, and the photos on my Instagram of that. And I actually didn't achieve the results that I thought I would have achieved in those 12 weeks because I was still eating about 2,000 calories a day. That was way too much for me. But I was getting about 200 grams of protein, which is way too much.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And 100 to 110 grams of fat. Again, way too much. And all from animal sources like eggs, butter. I was literally taking sticks of butter, like my food, oils, fish oils, oily fish. I was just eating loads of. It was literally a ketogenic diet. Yeah. And I didn't feel great. I always felt a bit like lethargic, bloated. And when I was eating those heavy like meals as well with a lot of protein, I didn't quite get reflux because I was still too young. I think young, but I did feel like every time I kind of belched. It's a bit heavy, isn't it? So I thought, but when I go vegan, I'm going to eat a lot of carbs. How am I going to do this?
Yeah.
So I kind of left off trying to get lean. I didn't do anything. And then speaking to Akash and looking at his articles, I thought, you know what, this low carb stuff is nonsense. It's bollocks. Yeah. You don't need to. The main thing is your caloric deficit. So when we started, he goes, how do you want to do it? You keep your protein about 2 grams per kilo, okay, and then the rest of your calories can come from protein and carbs. But you have to set the caloric, how many calories you're going to eat in a deficit. So there's a formula to work that out as well. And he set me at 1,600, I think it was, 1,700, quite low.
Yeah.
But that's how much I needed. For you, it would be different. For somebody else, it would be different. Depends on your weight and your activity levels. So once that was set, he goes, do you want to do it kind of carbs and fats? How you gonna do it? I said, I'll do it high carb because all my sources can be carbs. So we actually kept my carbs at over 100 grams, 180 grams ish, which is, again, sounds low for some people, can be quite high for some people, but it's definitely not a low carb diet. And it worked. And I got shredded. So what that taught me was, even though my misconceptions about a vegan diet, you can't get lean, can't get shredded, it's completely shattered just by the fact that I did it and it worked, right? That's why I think most people are blown away by it, because they all think the same thing, that you need to go super low carb, and how can you achieve that on a vegan diet? Well, you don't even need to go super low carb. And if you do, there are alternatives you can use anyway.
Like, it reminds me as well of that the bodybuilder Nimai Delgado, who was on Game Changers, and he was talking about when he's at competitions and he's backstage, the other guys are just like, and he's full of energy because he's got carbs and they haven't. And I think that makes a massive difference. And so, have you is there been any? I'm just gonna say hi to a couple of people, by the way, as well. I've got to say hi to Kavita, who's watching. Hi to Nividita. That's an unusual name, by the way. Tinkerbell is watching. Hi, Puraba. Indrani as well, hello. Hi to Lolly and also to Rukshana. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. So did you find, for you, during your training phase, there was any sort of negatives from doing this?
I was being vegan?
Yeah. And
no, because I was eating fruit, I was eating so many vegetables, which and eating so many plants, I just felt so full of energy. The only time that I felt kind of a bit like shit was when sorry,
Sorry.
how much I can swear.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of
Well, I
course.
won't swear
My
too much.
channel. Go for it. Swear your head off. Go for it.
No, but so the time I felt like shit was when it came to. So what I did was, me and Akash wanted to take it to the extreme. We wanted to see how shredded I could get, because I'd never done it before, and it was to the point where I thought we actually got to a level where I could have probably competed on stage, where bodybuilders get really, really lean, their body fat percentage gets really, really low. You plunge yourselves into kind of a deep pool of kind of, how extreme it is. I wouldn't recommend it to everyone.
Yeah.
Not everyone can go there. I wouldn't recommend it. So for the average person, I'd say, it's not where you want to go. Only at that time did I feel like shit, but that's because I was walking 20,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
I was doing cardio 5 times or 6 times a week at that point, for 45 minutes or half an hour on a Stairmaster, and I was training like an animal for 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And I was on super low calories. That's the only time I felt like shit. But I can't attribute that to a vegan diet, because even all bodybuilders, regardless of you eat or not,
Of course,
they'll feel like
absolutely.
that. But yeah, no, generally, whilst I've been vegan, I've never felt like crap, because how can you? You're eating so many fruits and vegetables, full of phytonutrients, full of antioxidants, full of fiber. You're regular as hell. I'm drinking loads of water, which I do anyway. There's no way. There's nothing. There's been never a time where I felt, oh no, my diet is ruining me.
Yeah.
No way.
And obviously the results then speak for themselves, and what you've achieved and what you did, and it was just incredible. And I think that the reason I say this guy's a game changer himself is because obviously that most people just kind of think to themselves, oh, you know what, that person's them and they can do it, but I can't. And then you meet someone, you think to yourself, look, you know what, the proof is right here in front of you that this guy can do it. Then of course anyone can do it.
But that was like me. I used to think that as well. That I can't do that. I can't do it. I look at Nimai. I was like, I can't do that. There's no way. There's so many guys out there. You're like, there's no way I can be that guy. You look at Men's Health magazine. You look at all these magazines. I can't be that guy.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm going to get that ripped. You just do it yourself, and then you'll be surprised what you can achieve.
Yeah. See, I've got my, I don't know if I told you, I think I did tell you actually earlier downstairs that I've got my marathon place confirmed. So London Marathon 2020, crazy. Which I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah.
My health hasn't been great recently as well. I had this condition, so it's getting better though. I'm healing nicely. I wanted to start training back in August, so I've had to delay it a little bit, but I'm not worried because I'm already generally quite fit. I can run 5 to 10K pretty easily without even training. Really?
Well, I can't run. I can run 10K, but it'll be a struggle.
Yeah. When I was just before, I think we were living in a different area, and I used to go probably back sort of March, April, May time. I just used to. I remember over Easter, Friday and Monday, I knew my gym would be closed and stuff, so I just go for a run in the mornings, and I'd easily, without even getting too tired, I'd easily do between sort of like 7 and 8K, and end up in a beautiful forest as well at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Amazing.
And it was just something else, and it felt so good. But when I did it last time, 2012, I wasn't vegan back then. And you follow all the traditional advice about how you should train, what you should eat, having carb loading and all that kind of stuff, which of course is important. However, I do want to try something a little bit different this year or next year. So I want to train in a ketosis mode. So I want to, because the thing is as well, you go to the gym before you've eaten anyway, right? I know Akash does. I do as well. So obviously, where's your body's going to get a source of energy from? Once it's depleted all its glycogen, it's obviously going to switch energy sources, and so then your body goes into ketosis, start producing ketones, and then you start burning fat for fuel. And I think for me, what I found is that when you get into that stage, if you can extend that period for a certain amount of time, you enter into kind of like it's almost like I would describe it as a peak flow stage, where I found where I hit that 24-hour barrier. And I go into another level. I know there's a doctor called Peter Atty who talks a lot about this. He's a big ketosis doctor, and he talks about he goes one of my records is doing 24-hour fast and then a 6-hour bike ride. So I want to do that and give that a go. I'm going to train doing that, see how it goes. Because I think one of the things is if you eat so soon before exercising, then your body's consuming energy to digest that food. You're taking energy away from what you could put into performance. So I think it's a good idea to do that anyway. When you're training, if you're training in the mornings, to have that little window where you haven't eaten anything from the night before. My wife and I, we've had a bad week because we've had loads of guests over us. We've been eating late, but generally speaking, we'll eat by about 7:30. Go to the gym. I'll train home by about 7:38. So minimum would be about 12-hour break between meals, which I think is a good thing.
Let's do first.
Exactly. I think that's good. 12 hours is a good minimum. I think personally, I think 60. If you can reach for 16 hours, do that. Because then your body's 100% depleted all its glycogen, and you're going to start burning the fats that's on your body, and then you can eat after that. So that's what's your thought and take on that?
So I agree with.
I should have switched this off before, but never mind, carry on. It's okay.
So there is some kind of evidence that sometimes fasting does help with certain conditions as well. Low calories is the main thing for certain, we're trying to lose weight and things like that. I think at the end of the day, being in a calorie deficit is going to be whether or not you're fasting. Because if you do intermittent fasting and eat too many calories, you're not going to help. But the whole point of fasting is you restrict the time you can eat.
Yeah.
So you're going to eat less anyway. And I would say that's the main take-home message about why fasting can help. Ketogenic diet, I say that is a short-term fix. It's not something that's sustainable long-term, especially for your health. There's been numerous studies that have shown that
absolutely
long-term low carbohydrate diets are associated with kind of mortality from all causes. Not a good idea. Low carb diets have been shown to help with things like diabetes, but then again, so have going on a whole food plant-based diet, which is still high in carbs. So again, it really depends. It does depend on the individual, but I would say a ketogenic diet isn't good long term. So doing it short term, fine. You can try it out, see how you feel on it, but not something I would do long term. Something that is sustainable long term, I think personally, is a whole food plant based diet. So eating more fruits, vegetables, lentils, legumes, tubers, things. If it's so, I went to a party yesterday with and it was the other doctors there, plant-based doctors, and one of them literally simplified it very nicely with what whole food plant-based diet is. So if it's whole, you can get it from the shop, like a fruit or a vegetable, and it's a food, whole food. Is it plant-based? Is it fruit? Is it vegetable? Yeah, it is, so you can eat it. Is it something like if it's an animal product, that's not whole food plant-based. If it's processed food, eat it minimally. Yeah, we're not saying you have to give up everything because it's impossible, but you can eat it minimally. I think the training while fasting is really good though as well. Going back to that, but again, it's very individual. There's some people that completely suffer on it.
Yeah, I agree.
I went to the gym with someone, and I think they hadn't eaten and they felt like complete crap.
Wow.
Okay. And so it really depends on the individual. For me as well, I used to think I had to eat before, but then when I did this 13-week shred, we call it, I decided to train faster because the only way I could train really early in the morning. And I thought, I can actually do this. So it did make a difference to me. So I think, give it a try, see how you go on it. And if it's not working for you, you can always change it up.
Yeah. What I found is that there are days where it doesn't quite pan out as expected. Like there are days where I'll go to the gym and, I can only lift, if I could do normally 10 reps on something, suddenly I can only do 8. I'd say that does happen about 70% of the time. But sorry, 30% of the time, beg your pardon. 70% of the time, I actually feel better. Yeah, no, I feel much better, generally speaking. I mean, there could be a number of reasons for that. I don't know what it is, and I will still continue eating high carbs anyway, regardless, because obviously that's my diet and stuff. But I do think there is something in this, not a ketosis diet, but going through short periods of ketosis is a good thing. I'm just seeing how it goes. You know what? I may not end up doing it anyway. I'll have to see how my training goes. I'll try it obviously rigorously in training first, because otherwise the last thing I want to do is get there and then screw up my marathon attempt. So when I did it in 2012, I did roughly about 14, 15 miles. And I was completely burned out. And I knew that if I carried on running, I'd only manage an extra mile or two and then I'll be done. And I thought to myself, if I walk, at least I'll make it to the end. So I'll walk the rest of the way. And I don't do this thing where I stop start as well. I hate when I see people do that. I'm like, why are you doing the marathon? You're going to stop start. I know, obviously, long distance, right? But
it's hard. It is hard work. I would stop and probably never start again if I tried. But you have to train for a really rigorously.
You do. You absolutely do. But so I'm really looking forward to that as well. I want to start my training as quickly as possible now that I'm in a bit better shape than I was a few weeks ago when you saw me that first time as well. That was just hell.
Speaking of the marathons as well, though, see the Kenyan guy that got
of course, team.
They explored the camp where he trains and the other Kenyan runners and see what they eat. So we're going back to whole food plant-based diet. So these countries, like, what can these people eat really? They're not eating a typical Western diet, are they?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So a typical Western diet is almost meat and it's animal products 3 times a day, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Breakfast, you're gonna have either eggs or bacon or something like that with, or you're gonna have cereal with cow's milk, maybe buttered toast. If you've got animal products in there. Your lunch is gonna be, I'll have a chicken salad. Oh, that's the healthy option. But if you're not having that, you're having McDonald's or some burger or something. Dinner as well is gonna be, spaghetti bolognese with whatever. It's going to be meat and dairy 3 times a day. And then you look at what these guys eat, mainly it's like grains, legumes and lentils, things like that, vegetables, fruits, like tubers, like so potatoes, yams, plantain, all these kind of starchy carbs. They'll have egg every now and then. Protein is not that high in their diets, despite them being athletes. So they have eggs every now and then, and meat is a luxury over there. It's something that they'll have once in a while, and they don't consume it often. So mainly, where's their diet coming from? Plants,
of course.
A whole food plant-based diet. And look at the performance levels. Able to run marathons like this and smash world records and stuff like that. I'm not saying they're vegan, because obviously they're not, and that's because of where they live.
Well, I don't think you necessarily have to be, because
but we're talking about what is healthy and what is good for your health. And people always ask me, like, how much meat can I get away with eating? I'm like, well, you're asking an ethical vegan here. I would tell you not to eat any meat because I care about the animals. But if you ask from a health point of view, how much meat can you get away with eating? Yeah, you can probably eat meat once a month or every, like that, and still not. It's like smoking.
Exactly.
I could have one cigarette once a month.
I have the odd cigar at Christmas.
You're not gonna do much damage, but doing it every day, 3 times a day, come on now. It's gonna obviously be bad for you. And you just look at. We'll come back to the health aspect of it in a second, but you got to look at it like that, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
That's why the
absolutely.
Kenyans were so good.
Yeah, and for them as well, I think they probably eat eggs more when there's probably a little bit of scarcity, more than anything as well. Whereas we actually, in this privileged society, we don't actually have to eat it at all. There is no medical benefit in eating animal-based products at all whatsoever, and you can survive 100% on a vegan diet, which is that maybe one supplement or something that gives you that B12. The thing is as well, I mean, most of the almond milk I buy is fortified with B12 as well.
All the milks are.
And so you're getting enough. Even the cheese slices I get as well, B12 added.
Nutritional yeast.
Nutritional yeast. My friend. Exactly. My friend used to do that as well. She used to make this awesome sauces called Omelicious. With nutritional yeast. Oh my god!
I sprinkle that on my broccoli.
It's so good. I need to get some extra. I need to get some more. But it's so tasty as well. Honestly, so good. So there you go. You're getting everything you need, and you don't have to worry. I think it was you're talking about protein and all that kind of stuff as well. I think it was Garth Davis who said on What the Healthy Goes, but there's not been one case in the history of mankind, if you're eating a normal caloric intake, there's no protein. There's no case in history of mankind of protein deficiency. So you don't have to worry. But we don't actually need as much protein as you think we might need.
Like the average person needs about 1 gram per kilo.
Exactly.
So you're looking at 60 grams. Ladies, maybe 55. And if you're an athlete, then you might need 1.5 grams to 2 grams per kilo. Again, it's not even the crazy numbers, and it's not hard to hit that.
Exactly. And there you go. So you don't need as much as you might think you need.
Peanut butter sandwich. Typical peanut butter sandwich. If you're using good quality whole meat seeded bread, it's 20 grams protein. I worked that out myself on my fitness pal. It's not hard.
And it's easy. You have 2 of those, and there you go. You're probably halfway there.
I mean, if you have 2 of them, it can be a lot of calories. You've got to look at your calorie count, how much fat. But if you have a simple peanut butter sandwich, there's 20 grams of protein. I think it's about 400 calories in that. So that's a meal. Don't you can have some vegetables on the side if you want. But that is your protein. Like already, maybe depending on how much you weigh, that's half or a third of your daily intake. Just from that one sandwich.
My wife and I, our favorite breakfast at the moment is sourdough bagels with peanut butter and banana.
Oof.
Oh, it's so good. Honestly, it's just so tasty as well. I could eat that all day. I haven't had. I don't know about you, but I haven't had. Yeah, no, of course not. I haven't had cereal, breakfast cereal. Or the only thing we do occasionally have is granola. So we get a good source of granola, and then I'll just make a fruit salad and chuck the granola on top and stuff. But I haven't had, because the one thing that I used to love when I was younger was obviously having cereal, Cocoa Pops, cornflakes, Frosties with milk on top. But I quit milk a long time ago actually because it used to cause me issues.
Same actually,
actually milk I quit probably even longer than that, maybe about sort of almost 15 years ago, I'd say actually. And I noticed an immediate difference then as well. Digestion was a big thing, but I noticed a huge difference, massive, when the cheese went at the beginning of the year. That's when I really noticed a big difference.
Skin or digestion for the cheese? Because those are the 2 common ones.
So skin actually wasn't a major problem actually for me, but digestion was definitely a big one, and heartburn was a massive one. And also actually the other thing as well I'll say is for me was mucus buildup.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like I remember one of my big vices was nachos and cheese at a cinema, right?
Yeah.
I would actually go more to the cinema to get the nachos and cheese than I would watch the film, right? To watch the film. So I used to love it, but I noticed that every time I had that fondue cheese and stuff, I'd have a massive build of mucus. If I had a bit of a cold,
that wasn't the coffee. That was me thinking fondue cheese.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know.
Ugh.
Exactly right. I would have the I'd have that, and if I had a little bit of a cold left over or something like that, then it would just literally, it would like build up massively, and I'd end up, having to, like, it would just, it was horrible. And it was just, it was an awful experience, and I'm so glad that that's out of my life now.
Yeah.
If I do go to the cinema and I feel like having nachos, I'll just get it with that and the salsa and the avocado and stuff, and that's it. And to be honest, I find it more enjoyable without the cheese. That's the ironic thing. I enjoy it more. And so the
people
cheese
are obsessed with cheese, aren't they?
I know, but the thing is, I can't blame anyone. I was as well, but once you learn,
I'll blame them in a second. Go on.
yeah, you can eat bad cop over here, good cop over here. But I think it's understandable because it can go with everything pretty much.
Yeah.
It does add some flavor, but like I said, I don't think you need it anymore at all.
You don't need it.
If you really want cheese, which you'll find your desire for it goes less and less. I still love my cheese. I have it every day. My vegan cheese slices. I put it on. Sometimes if I want a snack. Last night I had some really nice quinoa rice crackers with some vegan cheese on top.
Which
lovely.
Which brand did you get?
It was a Rye Vita ones, the vegan ones.
The cheese.
Oh, cheese, the Violife.
Violife, yeah, that's probably the best one.
I think so as well. But there are apparently new ones coming out which are even better.
Yeah. Some of the Follow Your Heart ones are good.
Yeah.
There's cheese, then there's, as in spelled like cheese,
yeah.
and then even some of the supermarket's own brand ones, some of them are okay.
Yeah.
Applewoods is another one that's good.
Okay, yeah. I think the only thing with some of the supermarket own brand ones, I found they're really smelly though. Really, and the flavor can be a bit too strong.
No, I agree. Some of them are a bit strong, some of it chemically look. But Violife, I think, smashed it.
Oh, if you fancy some crackers and cheese later, if you've got something like that.
We'll get lunch. It's
exactly.
fine. But going back to this obsession with cheese as well. So let's just talk about dairy anyway.
Yeah.
Because I think we haven't really spoken about.
Yeah, it's true actually.
How I'd argue dairy is worse than meat. Yeah, and this is what my mom and my whole family, they're all Hindu background. I'm no longer a practicing Hindu, but see, I like the philosophy side of it, but I don't really believe in God in that sense. That's just my personal belief. But my family are very Hindu. They drink milk and consume ghee, butter, all this stuff, cheese, dairy, all this stuff, and they feel like obviously they don't eat beef though because the cow is sacred and to be revered. It's it's a big part of Hinduism that the cow is a holy animal. We won't want to kill it, right?
Yeah.
Or cause it any harm or anything like that. It's really revered. But then they still have this paradox where they consume dairy by the ton. Yeah. India, especially. When I went to India recently, when I told them I couldn't have dairy, they looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
And I just told them I was allergic. There's some restaurants I'd be like, no, I'm allergic. They're like, sir, a little bit milk. I'm like, no. I can't have a little bit. So there's this obsession with the paneer. My God, all this stuff.
Paneer, that's a massive one, isn't it?
Huge. Just so dairy. Where does your milk and where does this come from? Cows. Why do cows make milk? To feed their children. Yeah. It's breast milk. Yeah, it's cow breast milk for the baby cow. And we humans have somehow thought, you know what? I don't know who the first human to look at a cow and think, I'll have some of that.
Yeah.
I don't know who that was.
Yeah, exactly right.
But
I've seen that meme. It's hilarious.
But they've gone for it, and then since then it's developed into this thing where we're putting these cows into these big industrial buildings, lining them up on these kind of really mechanical kind of areas where you're milking the cows with machines. They're fitted up to the udders. Just think about what's going on to that cow every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It may not have the same consciousness as us to appreciate what's happening to it, but it will feel a bit pain. You're using it, so it feel a bit of pain. What about the whole process of it though? How are we getting that cow to make that milk? So the cow has to get pregnant first and have a child, have a calf, right? But for us to get to the milk, you have to take that calf away. So firstly, getting the cow pregnant, you artificially inseminate it. Do you know how they do that? You've seen dairy, it's scary.
Yeah.
But it's essentially a farmer putting his arm like that into the back end of the cow through the anus to move the uterus down, and then artificially inseminating it with with bull semen that they've collected before.
Yeah.
And they get the cow pregnant. Cow then has its calf after a 9-10 month pregnancy.
And that video doesn't even focus on how they get the bull semen as well.
Oh no, exactly. Doesn't even talk about bulls. Yeah. then the calf is taken away within the first couple of days because
Mm.
you can't let them bond, because if you let them bond, it's even more cruel.
Mm.
You know, so you take that calf away, and I've seen cows chasing after the
Yeah.
their calves, you know, mooing for days. You know, whereas they just had a baby, right?
Mm.
Taking that calf away, and then you've just basically put things up. It's my milk now. And you're just taking the milk, and it's a constant cycle of that.
Yeah.
And you have to keep getting the cow pregnant because obviously eventually it's going to stop making that milk. And then it's what happens to that cow afterwards?
Mm.
Are you going to let it live until its ripe old age of 25, 26 years old, and it dies of natural causes? That's what I think Hindus think happens, or most people think that happens. No, the cow is killed after 6 years and becomes meat for either the meat industry or.
And to be honest, as well, after that 5-6 years, anyway, so
it's spent.
It's spent. It's
used.
Exhausted. That's it exactly.
It's a living being. You're using its organs. You're using its uterus to house a baby. You're using its udders for the milk. You're using the body of this sentient being. And you can see me getting passionate about this because they're not objects, man. They're not objects. They're animals. They're living, breathing, thinking, feeling animals that suffer. And I can't. And I don't want people to feel bad, but at the end of the day, why do you feel bad? You should feel bad because you're a human being. At the end of the day, I felt bad because I'm a human being, and you have empathy. You have empathy for your fellow man, but we have empathy for animals. We don't go around. If you saw a dog being kicked or treated like these animals get treated, you would stop that, right? Why is it different for the cows? Why is it different for the pigs? So then, that's what happens to the cow, the one that made the milk. Well, what about his children? So if it's a female, we're just going to do the same thing we did to the mum. Raise it. Then once she's able to have children, let it happen. What if it's a male? Well, that's a waste product. Either kill it on site 2 days later, or a day later, bullet in the back of the head, job done, or sell it for veal. People eating baby calf, and it's just such a normal thing in society now.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is.
And one thing on top of all of that is that I'm in big agreement with, which is I think Erin said it as well. She said you cannot be a feminist and not be vegan. I think that's so true. I'm 100% believe. And when people go around saying that I'm feminist, I'm like, do you eat meat? Do you drink milk? Yeah. Sorry, you can't be a feminist. I think that's one of the biggest hypocrisies out there right now.
I think we're all hypocrites in a way. Don't get me wrong. We're all hypocrites in a way, but I think being aware of that hypocrisy is one thing, but then you have to kind of make small changes towards it.
But being ignorant about it as well, then
if you're ignorant about it, then and you don't want to know, well, then that's on you. But if you're ignorant because you haven't been told, then fair enough, fine. Educate yourself. That's why people like us are there, or people like Erin Janice, or all these activists, like proper activists out there doing this, because they want people to know what's going on behind these closed doors. Why do children not know about this? Why is all this stuff happening behind closed doors? You don't see shows about farming on TV, but when it's presented to children, it's happy cow, laughing cow, happy egg,
100%.
All these, it's just marketing in such a happy way. Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O. What's happening on that farm, man?
Absolutely. No.
What's old MacDonald doing to those cows?
So true. I couldn't agree with you more, honestly.
Why has he got his hand in there?
I couldn't agree with you more.
It's horrible. It's horrible. But that's
what I was going to say was that we're going to just change subject for a little while, actually, because I wanted to talk about something quite interesting as well. Hello, Teresa. Happy Sunday. And hi to Kavita as well. And one thing I love, by the way, do check out his Instagram feed there, Dr. Ionki, because one thing I love that you're doing as well is your presentation. Because I have to admit, actually, I didn't give much thought to it, and I probably still don't give enough thought to it. But what I do love is whenever I see your pictures of what you make, the concoctions you make, I think to myself, wow, that looks good. I could so murder that right now. But I think it's so important. So if you check out his Instagram feed, you'll see just how cool and delicious he makes his food look.
I make it look very pretty, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know why I do. I don't even know why I do that, to be honest. Because I'm going to just eat it.
Yeah. In all honesty, you're a bit pretty for me, because I probably just want to not eat it for the fact that it's so good. So, I'd probably turn it down ever so slightly.
My dad's watched me doing it once, and he just looked at me and he would do with disgust. You can imagine,
I bet.
my Indian father just looking at me like, the hell are you doing? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, people like it, Dad.
Yeah.
It looks pretty.
I'm not surprised, but I think he takes it just one step too far.
Yeah,
right?
I do
Makes
that
it
a lot.
too, like,
Yeah.
it's literally like pictures from, like menus, online
I'm
menus and
competing
stuff.
with some these really creative people on Instagram.
Yeah.
These, especially like, you should check them out. Like most of these vegan accounts I follow, I'm just full of. That's all I'm seeing, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
It's really good.
But the question is actually, so I mean, why, in your opinion, is that important? And why do you do it? But I mean, I've got my own idea, and I think it's important that you actually appreciate everything about your food, the way it looks, the flavors, the scents, the build up, the anticipation. And I have to admit, hand on heart, I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm not one of these people. I'm not patient enough to do it, but I really want to learn. I want to slow down. I appreciate and savor my food more.
Yeah.
So that's kind of on my list of goals at the moment.
Yeah.
So I think it's vitally important.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's, in fact, I mean, for me, so going slightly off topic, but I think that this is why we have this French paradox, because the French actually take time to eat, savor, appreciate, enjoy, create community around their food. They have 2-hour lunch breaks in France. They don't rush. They don't have to. You'll never see a French person walking along the street eating a sandwich with a sandwich in the hand. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why they're so healthy, I think, is that because actually, in one sense, you don't need to be vegan necessarily to eat healthy, but if you appreciate your food like they do, we could probably all be healthy as well. But for me, the ethics, everything else comes into it as well.
Yeah.
So, but if you look at generally the French paradox and what they do, it extends their life. They don't get hardly any of the Western diseases. They have the least amount of diabetes in Europe, cardiovascular disease, and all the rest of it. Because they take the time to appreciate and enjoy
French
their
and
food.
Mediterranean, I think. As well.
But I think even more so than the Mediterranean, I think the French are actually at the top, and it's incredible because the diet is actually not great, but they don't have any of the problems. But you'll notice, they'll have a 6-course meal at dinner. Like this is what they do, but the portions are very small.
Yeah.
They take the time, 2-3 hour meal with their family around the table. That's how they do it. So, so from that perspective, I just wanted to shift to that quickly. But I think it's important. But you started doing it, and I think you're kind of setting a bit of a trend there, which is a good thing. But why do you do it? What's kind of important about it?
I just like making it look pretty, and because there's so many.
Expecting a bit of a deeper answer.
No. So the thing about vegan food I've noticed as well is, and I want to emphasize this to people, especially with the photos, is we talk about. So this is something Brenda Davis say. If you don't know about her, check her out as well. Brenda Davis, she's a vegan. She's been vegan for 30 years.
Okay.
And one of the early kind of pioneers of vegan nutrition in America.
Oh wow, okay.
And I had the pleasure of meeting her at a conference last week, which we'll talk about as well.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
The VegMed conference, but she essentially talked about eating the rainbow. So all these vegetables and fruits, they're just full of all these colors, and those colors of essentially contain those phytonutrients we always talk about.
Yes,
the antioxidants, the powerful part of the food we eat is in those colors.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You want to make your plate as colorful as possible, and you're going to get your yellows, your oranges, your purples, your reds, from all the different sources. And the best way to display that is, I think, on a plate like that, and the greens especially. Don't forget your greens.
Yeah, 100%.
And when you look at the plate and you look at all these colors looking at you, you can't help but think, yeah, wow, you literally have to eat the rainbow.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we always talk about, with a whole food plant-based diet, is eating the rainbow and getting all your vital micronutrients in there from those. You can't quite do that with me, can you?
Yeah, exactly.
You
one
can't
color,
do that.
or two colors. That's about it.
Chicken is like bland, plain looking. Steak is red, fine, good, well done. But with vegan food, you can make it look really good.
Yeah.
And I think that part of it is why, and it's also making it attractive for other people. I want people to look at it and go, hey, I could eat that. I would love to eat that. Like you just said, I could murder that. Yeah, murder those plants.
Yeah.
Yeah. They won't scream.
Yeah.
But that's why I kind of want to make it look pretty and presentable, just because I want more people to think about eating the rainbow, in eating those colors. That's the main thing I emphasize. I always hashtag eat the rainbow down in there, because I want people to know that that's.
And we're not talking about Skittles, ladies and gentlemen, right?
Yeah, not Skittles, obviously. I don't even know if they're vegan.
I don't think they are. I think
anyway, I can't remember the last time I had that, to be honest. But definitely, when you're eating the rainbow, it's about your fruits and your vegetables, and that's why I kind of do it.
Yeah. Nice, but I think that's just so important that your presentation does make a big difference. Apparently, there is some science behind it as well. That in terms of what your body does when you prepare your food, seeing it, your body is actually getting ready to consume that food.
Yeah. You start.
So I started looking into this, quite a number of years ago actually. But your body is actually then producing the right chemicals to digest that food properly, and it takes time. And so this is why if you suddenly just chuck food on your plate and eat and you gobble it down, you're actually not digesting it properly anyway.
Definitely not.
So I think all of this comes into play and it's so fundamental. But like I said to you, for me, one important thing is that I have been a scoffer. Hand on heart, I still am. But that's something I want to work on, because I think if I'm taking this step of going vegan, I want to take the next step now of eating a lot more. I think mindfully is not the word I like to use.
Mindful.
I do. I think awareness is probably a bit of a better word for me. I like that word, because I think, as someone said it as well, I said mindful is actually kind of a bad term, and I agree, because you get out of your mind, you're actually into your whole soul awareness.
Oh, right, fine.
So that's why I think it's important that there's
tie the mind
levels.
and the soul together. So that's
I think it's just all lexicons, but I think just what it means to the individual is more important. But anyway, so in that respect, eating mindfully with awareness and consciously, and realizing, that this food is there. You can enjoy the taste. You can love it. It's nourishing your body. It's actually fuel. It's not meant to be, something that just gives us pleasure.
It's not pleasure. It's not just for pleasure.
Exactly. It can be, though, which is obviously why you make it look presentable.
Yeah.
But I think it's just so important. I think it's such a fundamental part of this whole process. And I love it. And I think, make sure you do check out his Instagram feed as well, because I love what you post and stuff.
When it started, people were like, "Oh, do more," and I was like, "Crap, I have to keep doing it." I have to keep doing it. So, because I don't do it every day. Sometimes I'll make it. I look at it like, "Okay, that's good."
Exactly.
Because if I took a photo of my food every single day, I think people would be like, "What are you doing? How do you have the time for this? Aren't you a doctor?"
Exactly right. Yeah, get back to work.
So luckily now at the moment, because I'm teaching, I have that time in the morning to do this. I mean, I wake up ridiculously early anyway. Waking up at 5:30, and then if I go for my walk or go to the gym, come back, I have a good amount of time before I have to leave for work anyway. So then I have that time, because people always like, "How do you have the time?" Like, I guess I'm not waking up just before I have to go to work. And snoozing 5 alarms. I'm waking up straight away. But that mindfulness, also food awareness thing, is really important. Chewing your food, eating it slowly. One, you're helping digestion. Two, that will make sure that you're satiated quicker. If you scoff your food down, you could probably fit a lot more in, and then you're going to feel horrible, you'll bloated, no matter what you eat. So eating it slowly means that you'll eat the right amount that you need for yourself. If you're not someone who counts calories, because not everyone's going to count calories, right? Unless you're on a strict program or whatever. But if just having that kind of awareness, chew your food, eat it slowly, appreciate it. Don't treat it like that it's I have to get this down. Obviously, it's not going to work for everyone. People are in a rush. People have busy jobs. I can appreciate that. Might not be the thing that you can do every time, but even at least at dinner time, might be time that you can sit down with your family, have a talk between. And this is the thing that Akash kind of puts a lot into his clients as well, about being aware of food, being food aware, because a lot of people have just become like, we kind of live to eat.
Yeah, of course. 100%.
A lot of people live to eat, but we should be just eating to live. It should be sustaining us, and let your food be your medicine as well. Like it's what's going to heal us.
100%. I couldn't agree with that more. I think it's just so important. I think, and I was going to say to you, keep doing it. I think it's fun. I love it. I love when I see it. But the only thing I'll say is, I hate him sometimes because it just makes me hungry. Even though if I've just eaten, I see his food, and then I'm like, oh, I'm hungry again now. But that's the trigger, right? You see something nice, visually pleasing, and then suddenly, you just want to eat it as well. So I think this is why visual pleasure is also a good thing.
Is it interrupted?
No, that's fine. We are still live, actually. I think that's just probably frozen temporarily. I think from what I've seen anyway of everything you've done, you're doing such an amazing thing by not only spreading the message but showing people what's possible, and with looking after yourself and being healthy, being lean, training your body, training your mind, and doing it all on a plant-based diet, mostly plant-based, but vegan. Obviously, we eat some, processed stuff now and again, and that's fine. Again, I think as long as you don't live off it,
still plant-based.
All of it's plant-based, but in terms of slightly processed. But I think you're doing such an incredible thing, and I think that you're setting a benchmark and showing people what's possible. Because sometimes you just see it. Someone on the screen or whatever, you think, I can never do it for me, but actually here's someone you can meet any time you want, locally, and he can show you firsthand, actually, it is possible. I've done it, and it's not that I'm special, it's that anyone can do it.
It's like Game Changers, isn't it? That movie has shown people what is possible. You've seen it a couple of times now. I've seen it. I think it's just come out on Netflix.
Oh yes, of course. By the way, do check out the documentary on Netflix called The Game Changers.
Definitely check it out. I think it's caused a lot of kind of stir worldwide, which I think all these documentaries kind of did that. What the Health did that when it came out. Forks Over Knives did that. Cowspiracy did that. But I think Game Changers has done something completely different with the angle it's gone at. It's gone at the angle of your protein. It's definitely one for men to watch.
Yeah.
There's a bit of fun in there as well about.
Of course, indeed.
There's some.
We need to worry about the things.
There's some studies and. I say studies, but there's a bit of science in there which is very, very new, and I don't take it with a pinch of salt. But the rest of it is, about how it can affect your heart and things like that. It's, vegan diets have been proven to reverse coronary artery disease in some people. People like there's certain doctors that they show on the show, like Dean Ornish, things like that. They've got these programs which can reverse literally.
Yeah, him and his wife do amazing work.
It's amazing, and you've got Dr. Eccleston, you've got Dr. Clapper. All these amazing vegan doctors in America that are doing it. Now we've got doctors here that are doing it as well.
Finally,
which I had the pleasure of meeting last week. Yeah, but going back to Game Changers.
You were at let's talk a little bit about that as well, because
VegMed.
You were at VegMed, right? And you got to meet some of these guys.
So VegMed. So I was really lucky to be able to go. So it was the first plant-based kind of or vegan medical conference in the UK of its kind, and it's an international one. So there are people from all over the world that had come. You had people from the Netherlands, you had people from Germany, you had people from America.
So I saw Michael Clapper was there, I believe, and then who else was there?
Brenda Davis was there.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
Dr. Gemma Newman.
Yeah.
You might have seen her on Instagram as plant-powered doctor. I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've seen her. Yeah.
And then there was Dr. Alan Desmond or Desmond.
And who's the one you liked? The one with the glasses as well. You said he's one of your favorites. What's his name? Was he there?
Dr. Michael Greger.
Yeah.
Yeah, how can we forget him?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he was there,
famously for nutritionfacts.org and How Not to Die book and How Not to Diet.
Yeah,
he's definitely one of the most famous ones out there, and in terms of just because of how eccentric he is, and his website kind of looks at all the studies, and he literally his life now is looking at all these studies and making it kind of digestible for people to then see the science, what the recent science is showing about a whole food plant-based diet. Okay, so when we separate the diet from veganism, because a plant-based diet is only one part of veganism. Veganism is an ethical philosophy, and you should be vegan. But then if you're talking about health, we talk about plant-based diet. So that's what this conference was focusing on. It was like a collection of speakers. You had Dr. Gemma Newman is a GP, Dr. Michael Clapper from America is a physician, Brenda Davis is a nutritionist. You had other doctors who are pediatricians. You had one guy on Instagram, he's called Devon Gut Doctor. He kind of talked about IBD, inflammatory bowel disease. You had Dr. Shireen Kassam. She's
inflammatory or irritable bowel.
So there's two different things.
Okay.
Irritable bowel syndrome is kind of something that people kind of get upset tummy, can get diarrhea and things like that. But inflammatory bowel disease is a real debilitating chronic condition where you get inflammation of the lining of the gut, and which can cause ulcers. It's really horrendous. And how he's and it's usually treated with quite quite vigorously with steroids and like even anti-immune drugs and things like that. So he was looking at kind of using the medical side with the medications, but also how can we change diet to help these patients as well? Because typically people think that you have to go completely low fiber when you've got this problem. So in the immediacy when you get flare up of IBD, you have to kind of eat low fiber to stem the flow of the diarrhea. But then he was putting his patients on a plant-based diet, which actually has quite a bit of fiber, and he was noticing them getting better. And there's studies kind of backing up how this works and things like that. So he's presenting the cases for that as well. So it was a really good conference actually, and I had the pleasure of meeting one surgeon that I actually worked with there, Mr. Rajiv Bajikal, consultant orthopedic surgeon, and his wife, Dr. Neetu Bajikal. So she's a consultant gynecologist, and she's actually seen patients with things like amenorrhea where they don't get periods, reversed with a whole food plant-based diet. She kind of sees patients with cancers that she helps with a whole food plant-based diet. And Dr. Shireen Kassam, she's an oncologist at King's, and she's kind of been helping patients reverse or help with cancer as well with, again, a whole food plant-based diet. So it's really interesting to see how diet can be such a massive difference to health, because people think, a healthy diet is a balanced diet, with a bit of meat, this and that. But we're showing here how meat can be detrimental in so many ways, and how a whole food plant-based diet can be so helpful in many days.
Yeah, absolutely. And who did you get to meet there while you were there?
So interestingly, I met because I knew Dr. Bajikal. He's quite kind of well known with these people, so he introduced me to everyone.
Brilliant!
So I ended up meeting all the speakers, and then we went for dinner after the conference by Chloe.
Oh, nice.
So there's me, this little fish in a big pond of amazing consultants, and
wouldn't say no to that though. Still,
world-renowned speakers. And he's like, Minil, do you want to come for dinner with us? And I was like, yeah, hell, why not? So then we went to dinner, and now I've met them, and got to talk to them, and it's just they've inspired me really
Yeah.
to carry on what I'm doing in terms of trying to help people from the health aspect of it as well. You know, I mean, I went vegan for the animals, you know, hands down. It wasn't for my health. I went completely, it was literally for the animals. And even now, I care more about the animals than I do my own health, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
but obviously, I do care about my health a bit as well. And the fact that I know that, you know, plant-based diet can be so good for my health and other people's health. And as a doctor, I'm, you know, you practice what you preach, right? I want patients to be healthy. I want people to be healthy. How can I best do that?
Yeah.
Wow, I can combine the two, the vegan aspect of it and the health from the diet. So that was amazing to see that kind of them do that.
It's funny you should say that, because I'm on par with you there as well. Now I'm at that stage where I care more about the animals than I do about, because I'm an animal lover.
Yeah.
Love dogs especially, but I love all animals.
Yeah.
But so from that perspective, that's more important to me than the health aspect.
Yeah.
So even if it meant that obviously it's not anyway, but even if it meant it wasn't, at the cost of my own health, I would still do it.
Yeah.
Because
Same.
you're saving the animals and stuff. You're saving someone else suffering.
Yeah.
And so from that perspective, I completely agree with you. But that's amazing that you had a chance to meet all these people as well. Yeah.
Had dinner with them. You know, it was just sitting opposite Dr. Clapper.
Yeah.
He's been on What the Health and
of course,
and he was asking me how many times a week I go to the gym.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think he's 70.
Yeah.
And he's like, you make me want to go to the gym.
Oh, bless.
I was like, wow, yeah.
That's so cool. Because the thing is, as well, like we were saying this, right? Like if I saw Kim Kardashian walking down the street, I really wouldn't give two craps. Yeah.
Right.
But if I saw any of these guys, I would be like their groupie. I would go up and I'd be like, oh my God, it's Dr. Michael Clapper. I want a picture with you.
He saved hundreds of people.
Yeah, I know, right? Even like, the BBC doctor, Michael Mosley, I love him for the intermittent fasting thing as well. If I saw him, I'd kind of, like that. I mean, a group
people that make a real difference. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And so for me, that's if I saw any of these lot, and I think, these are great documentaries to watch, because I think you look at like What the Health, for example, I think really sparked this most recent massive global vegan movement, especially like Veganuary this year, with Greg's coming out with their vegan sausage rolls, which are really nice. God.
If you haven't tried the Greg's vegan sausage roll,
I know.
Get down and try it, and get there early, because it's better to have it hot.
Yeah,
because these guys, Greg's don't warm up food anymore.
I know, it's crazy, right? So sometimes when you get there, it doesn't taste the same when it's cold. That's for sure.
I go back home and warm it up.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It doesn't quite taste. So if it's cold, don't go by that taste. Warm it up and then. It's like,
so Wenzel's also doing.
They got the vegan roll, which is really nice as well. A lot of their products, like even their donuts and stuff as well. Some of them are vegan, so you can just ask. They've got everything.
They're doing a whole new range as well. Yeah.
So you've got all these options now as well. So if you love your junk food, you still have this option there as well. Cut down a little bit.
But going back to the health, going back to what the health.
Cut down a little bit, but.
Yeah, I mean, no one's asking you to be 100%. Like, it's impossible to be a purist, I think, in any sense of the word. I think
I did try going raw vegan because I did a 30-day experiment a couple of years ago where I went about 5 years ago. 30 days without sugar, but I was eating a lot of cheese then, a lot of cheese.
Jesus.
So that was like, but I still felt better actually. So it just went to show that actually the sugar thing is also still a big thing. So
refined sugars.
Be mindful of it and what you eat, how much you're eating. And then the other thing as well was then after that I decided, okay, right, I've done that and achieved it, and I did it, which was a big thing for me at the time. Then I thought, right, let me see if I can go raw vegan for 30 odd days. I only managed about 5 days, and then I was feeling a bit, because your body needs time to transition.
It needs to adjust. You
have to. I managed about 5 days, but I was feeling a bit run down, so I gave up. And the thing is, I was working full time, really long hours, and so I had no window to adjust, so I couldn't do it. But now I work from home. It's something I would definitely consider again. But I think at the moment I'm just loving food a bit too much as well, so I probably won't do it for a while. But I think close to the marathon, I will look into this again and look at what changes I can make, even if I do it, say, a few days a week and do it that way. Or like, because I did my experiment last year where I did, 60 days of one meal a day.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't felt that good in such a long time. And most of the time I was vegan in that as well.
Yeah.
Not entirely, but most of it was. And I felt incredible after that. And, there were points in that where I was fasting for about 24 hours and I felt so good. Yeah. And, I felt it start to gradually have an impact on my health overall. And I was just feeling so energetic and, like literally I felt I could.
When you were doing these fasts, what was your diet like at the time? Were you vegan at the time?
Mostly. So I was eating a bit of cheese, I think, at that time. Gradually, that's when I came to I started to go vegan as well. but I was eating some cheese, like paneer occasionally and things like that. But even then, I just felt incredible by the whole process because I was minimizing it. I was eating a lot less.
Yeah, I think mainly is you're minimizing how much you're eating.
Yeah,
the
most of
calories,
it, most of that stuff
yeah.
was going gradually from my diet.
Yeah.
And so, I felt incredible. But I think, giving your body, I'm a big believer in the fasting principle. And I think giving your body a chance to, I think if you're eating a lot of crappy food, it's something you must do. But if you're eating well, you don't need to do it often, even if you to do it once a month. Like, I don't know if you've seen, did you look up the work of Dr. Voltalongo?
No.
He's a big proponent of the fasting thing, and he shows that people who eat really bad diet, they can reverse a lot of their diseases very quickly, lowering your IGF and all this kind of stuff. And so it's a good way non-medically to improve your health. But if you're eating well, I still think it's a good idea to do once in a while, maybe once a month, once a year. Just decide you're going to have a prolonged fast. I did my 72-hour fast about 3 weeks ago. I felt so much better. I did 48 hours a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to do it again next week and just go for 48, 72 hours maybe as well. I think it's a good way to kickstart your body. It puts you into fat burning mode. It's safe if you're like me and you've got a lot of extra fat. If you're very slim, then it's not a good idea to do it for a long period, but still you could do it for 24 hours. You'll probably feel worse off initially because your body's not used to it. But if you do it a few times, your body will start to change and you'll start to feel, this is actually quite good.
But make sure you're drinking plenty of water during it.
Yeah, by the way, when we say fast, water is a must. But also, as well, one thing that they found is that you must continue to exercise. If you don't exercise, you get muscle wastage. If you do exercise, you get fat burning. And this is quite an important distinction that, because you'll get tired initially and you'll want to just crash out on the sofa. But you have to try and avoid that. You need to get up and move around because in your body it switches on basically the fat burning. But if you rest, your muscle wastage starts to kick in. So I don't know what the scientific process behind that's called.
If you're not using your muscle, they're not going to be used.
Exactly.
The muscles need a stimulus to remain active. But when you do go into ketosis, you will burn muscle and fat. But preferentially, you should be burning muscle. That's why when people go on a ketone diet, they keep protein high. So because that's muscle sparing. But if you're fasting, you're obviously not getting anything in. So be prepared to lose a bit of muscle and fat.
Funny enough, though, I'll tell you something quite interesting, and I'll show you the stats on my phone. I mean, I don't know how accurate those scales are. But actually, my muscle mass went up from the fasting, and my fat went down, and my muscle mass went up.
So there's so many factors that influence that. Your levels of hydration, because you're using an impedance test. Was it electrical? Yeah. So much variation with that. Depending, I could take a test in the morning and the evening, and I'll have a completely different result.
Really,
So take a pinch of salt unless you're recording it in a similar state every time.
Exactly, every morning. So I literally put the scales in the same place, do it in the morning, after I've been to the men's room, to put it in a polite way, all that kind of stuff. And I think that's when you get slightly more of an accurate reading. But yeah, I've just found that interesting. I found my muscle mass actually went up and my fat went down. But I'd lost weight. So
so if
the good thing is as well, and the other thing as well, which I add in, which I think is quite important. I'm a self-experimenter, so I try this. Obviously, if you're going to try something like this, go see someone like him, your doctor, whoever else, and just let them know. Get some tests done, get your blood test done, do all the things you need to do. Right? I'm a bit naughty like that, so don't take my influence, whatever. Right? But the other thing I found was that what people think, or they have this perception that as soon as you eat again, you're gonna the weight will come back on. My weight stayed off, so I'm at this. I've gained back maybe about 1 kilo, but now it's staying the same. And that's what you'll find if you do it properly in the right way. That's what will happen. If you're doing it the wrong way, and then you're scoffing afterwards and
if you're
slamming all this food down, then you'll find that your body will just go back to the way it was. But if you can maintain a little bit of discipline where when you start eating, you do it gently and then you build up, you'll find your weight will go up slightly, but it will just then be consistent. And so that's an important aspect of it as well. So just another side of it as well, which is going to be interesting. I like to try and share those results and stuff on my blog, and when I do crazy shit like that, and just see how it goes. So I'll see how it's going to go with the marathon. But the one thing for me with the marathon is I don't want to lose any muscle mass. So I want to still keep building muscle while I'm doing this training. But obviously, I've got a lot of fat to shed anyway. It's all in the middle for me. It's not my legs are skinny as anything and muscly, but for me, it's all middle fat. So I want to see how this goes now and pans out. So
interesting.
Yeah,
I think when you're training for the marathon, just make sure you're getting. I think you will need the calories, especially on that day. You will need the calories. Your body will just because your body is designed to burn carbs as fuel.
Yeah.
It just is, which is why your brain is amazing at burning glucose. That's what it does.
Don't worry, I'm not going to do it
Yeah.
like literally, like
No.
suddenly just go,
No.
but I can experiment and
Yeah,
build up on the way. So,
But when you're actually doing the marathon, get the carbs in before.
yeah,
Get the carbs in before. Make sure your muscles are fully pumped with glycogen.
yeah,
Because believe me, they will suffer without it.
yeah,
They won't, because the fat burning is a very slow process.
yeah.
You'll need the glycogen when you're actually
So
running.
this is one of the experiments I'll do as well, because I think if I end up going that route, it's finding out what the optimal time to eat before would be as well for me if I'm doing the marathon.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to do my normal thing and say eat at 7 p.m, but the marathon say starts at 11 or whatever it is, that's 16 hours right there. Is that enough time that I've got enough glycogen store where I won't go through a transition phase as well? Because if you go through that transition phase from burning all your carbs to then going into ketosis, sorry, we're getting really scientific now. Then obviously, again, there's a transition period where you may hit a bit of a wall. Or do I need to sort of maybe wake up really early that morning and eat something so that gives me that
something slow digesting?
Exactly, yeah.
Early, and then before and during, just fast digesting.
Yeah,
carbs.
the one thing I will definitely not do this year is the last time was I relied on those gels a little bit as well, and I realized that they're okay, but you don't need them
for the
again.
electrolytes and things like that.
I think.
I think some. It depends again on how trained you are.
Yeah.
And how the effort you're putting in. But I think they can be of some help as well.
Yeah. So, but as always, I always say as well, look, get some sensible help and stuff. And I've tried to make friends with people who know this subject. And this is why when I was not well, I went straight to him, because I thought he's someone who knows and understands what my lifestyle choices, but then can give me some advice on my health and what I can do to improve it. And so, you know what, always make sure you do that. And, follow good advice and not just some random people you see on the net. Research them, do your proper homework, and then then you can take that advice on board and stuff as well. But you've obviously got someone here you can connect with and get some good information off and stuff, and just follow what he does. But like you said, what was the name of the doctor again? Let's give a quick mention.
Quite a few. Which one?
The one you mentioned earlier that you were friends with him and he invited you out to dinner.
So his Dr. Bajekal. So
how do you spell that?
Bajekal, I think.
Okay, cool. There you go.
But I follow. It's who's more active on Instagram is his wife, actually. She's incredibly active in the whole plant-based community as well.
Brilliant.
In the sense that she's been interviewed by from in Chelsea, Lucy Watson.
Oh, okay, yes, yeah.
By her, she's and she does a lot of things for women's health. Gives talks. She's actually appeared on Embarrassing Bodies. I only found out this.
Oh, really? Yesterday. Okay, good on her.
But because I was actually at their house yesterday. For their daughter's birthday.
Yeah.
I only met her daughter last week.
Yeah.
Their daughter last week. But they invited me yesterday. Food is all vegan. They've been vegan a number of years, like I think 18 years on.
Yeah.
So, but so the content she puts out on Instagram is really good, especially for women's health as well. There's a few other doctors that I follow, and kind of, in fact, one of the posts I've tagged some of the doctors as well, so you'll see. And they're all going to be at Veg Fest next week.
Oh yes, I'm going to make sure I go to that. I'm going to make sure I go to that.
So Veg Fest is the biggest vegan festival. It's not like the Wireless Festival. It's not like Wireless, but it's a festival in the sense that it's at Kensington Olympia on Saturday and Sunday this weekend coming. So Saturday and Sunday coming, it's going to be massive. There's going to be food, clothing, just all things vegan. It's going to be there. So food, clothing, toiletries, your cosmetics. There's going to be talks from people from the fitness community, health community, cooking classes. So people that help with cooking. I think the guys from Veganuary are going to be down there telling people how they can go about doing that. Just if you ever in your mind even thought about becoming a vegan, this is the place to go. Even if you're not vegan, so many non-vegans come to it.
Absolutely.
Actually, I prefer it if non-vegans come to this event, because
exactly.
Vegans already kind of know what they're doing in the sense there. We go because there's loads of great food there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Loads of great products that we can still buy and use and get to know more about the community. But people from outside of the community that don't know, want to learn more, this is the perfect place to go.
Yeah.
Tickets aren't that expensive at all, and they're still available. But you go there and literally it's just, you can just talk to anyone about their journey, about veganism, and people are happy to help and talk about it. And those are talks you can go on that will answer your questions. So it's a really good place. It's open to everyone, literally.
Yeah.
And they do it once a year in London. They sometimes do it in Brighton and other cities. But yeah, it's called Veg Fest.
Nice. Yeah,
But
definitely.
definitely goes to the next weekend. So I think it's 26th and 27th October.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to be there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't got my tickets yet, but I'll be down there for sure.
Yeah.
Do you know, actually, just I'm going to finish on that as well. So when I talk about this as well, and people ask me, I do kind of one thing I do say is that I clarify that I'm a dietary vegan now, but I think I want to go take it the next step. I mean, I'm still wearing a leather belt, but it's, as Gary Yusovsky says,
Yeah.
Yusovsky,
Gary Yurovsky.
Yurovsky, that's it. How you pronounce his name? He goes, look, if you've already got something like that, then it doesn't matter. The damage is already done.
Yeah.
I know he won't even wear anything like that.
Yeah.
But I do. I drive a car that has a leather steering wheel. You can't. There's some areas that living normally you can't get away from it. I know, for example, if you buy a Tesla, it's all vegan leather.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
if you were to buy, if you're in a position where you can buy a Tesla car, for example, but a lot of other manufacturers are doing it, great. Then you've done one thing there as well. So I do, from my perspective, I don't want to. I'm careful because I don't like to be a hypocrite, because when I want to get to a situation where I want to talk to people about this, I want to be able to, if they're going to try and call me on anything, I want to be able to answer it. So I say to people, I'm a dietary vegan, and I think further down the line, I want to make sure that I look at, say, vegan clothing and things like that. Exactly, plant powered. There you go, right there. As much as is possible. I think you can't get away from everything, but you can, especially if you don't have the means.
Yeah.
But I think the easiest and the first step is the going dietary vegan. If you're something you want to do, this is, you're wondering where to start, I think this is a good starting point. And even deciding, actually, you know what, during Monday to Friday, I'll go vegan, and then Saturday, Sunday, eat normal food and stuff. But even that's a good starting point, because that's how I did it. I started off doing it a little bit, and then gradually now I'm a full vegan, dietary vegan. So there you go. So for me, it worked. Or there's you could I'm sure there's gonna be loads of people out there who are going to go his route and just go cold turkey overnight, done, dusted, and that's it.
I always say do what works for you.
Yeah.
Going back to you talk about being dietary vegan. There are people that are vegan for the environment.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on that before you close.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
so
definitely.
You've got Extinction Rebellion going on, and a branch off of that is Animal Rebellion. So the Extinction Rebellion. Not everyone there is vegan. They're all environmentalists.
Yes, yeah.
And they care deeply about the environment. What they're doing is, I think what they're doing is great. Yeah. They're causing disruption for a reason. The planet is dying. Yeah. The ocean levels are rising. The world population is going to be 10 billion by 2050. How are we going to sustain this population? Where's the food going to come from? What's going to happen to the coast with the sea levels rising? For those of you who don't understand climate change, and actually, there's quite a few people that don't understand climate change.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to tell you about climate change and what it is right now. Seriously, Google it, look it up, and look at the science behind it and understand it. We all did it in GCSE geography, A-level geography, if you did A-level geography. But GCSE geography was the subject that every one of us probably did. And we talked about climate change then. It's happening. It's happening whether we like it or not. And because it's happening so slowly, we're kind of like putting it in the back of our minds and not really worrying about it. It's tomorrow's, it's tomorrow's problem, yeah? Tomorrow, we're tomorrow now.
No,
exactly. And our children, if we have children, are going to be the ones that suffer from it. Yeah. You look at Greta Thunberg. People are criticizing her, but why? She's the one fighting this because it's her generation that will suffer the most. You've stolen my future from me, is what she said, right? You've stolen my future from me, is what she said to these politicians, and it's true. Politicians care more about the money, the big businesses, the corporations. They only care about one thing, which is money.
Yeah.
So and we're sacrificing the health of the planet for it.
Yeah.
So you talk about dietary veganism, but environmentally, I think veganism. I think Lewis Hamilton came out and said it's the best thing you can do for the environment.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I'd argue it's probably one of the best things you can do for the environment. There is one thing you can do which is actually better than that, which is not have children. Apparently, but that's something that obviously I can't ask people to do that.
No, of course, yeah.
But cutting out meat and dairy from your diet is huge, and fish as well, just because of the environmental impacts of meat and dairy. And we're talking about the kind of greenhouse gas emissions. But then obviously there's water pollution, land usage as well. If you stopped using land for meat, dairy, and eggs and all that stuff, you free up as much land as covers the whole of the continent of Africa and Europe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's huge.
That's exactly massive.
And you can plant crops on that we can eat instead. Cut out the middleman. You don't need that. So that So the environmental impact is another huge reason to go vegan as well.
I love the fact that Iceland have kind of cut out palm oil from all their products now, which is great. So I think it's a good starting point, and they do quite a good vegan selection of food as well. I tried one of the vegan pizzas the other day, which was one of the best pizzas I've had.
Iceland. Yeah, Iceland.
Yeah, nice one. We tried the hummus one.
No,
So they don't put cheese and they put hummus on it. And actually, I thought hummus on a pizza, but actually, it was really nice, really tasty. So I think helping brands like who are doing stuff like that is also a good thing.
Yeah. Sainsbury's have cut out the plastic bags from
exactly.
They've only got
and they're doing the fireworks thing as well. That big debate as well. Yeah, they're not selling fireworks.
That's great. Ban them. Noise pollution, air pollution. Horrible for animals. Horrible.
Exactly. I haven't spent money on fireworks in a long time.
Stresses birds out, dogs.
Don't get me wrong. I think what, it's still fun. Go to a big display, but do that. But it's that's in slightly
even these big displays. I think we have to think about what is good. I mean, have fun, but can we have fun without harming others?
Of course, yeah.
Our main principle should be to do no harm, right? We're already doing harm just by existing. Human beings do harm by existing. If we can minimize the harm, this is what vegans try to do. You're not going to be a perfect vegan. It doesn't exist. Just by being a human that owns a house and a car, you're doing some harm.
Exactly.
Right?
No, 100%.
But we can minimize it by doing things that are completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I personally think, and most people I think will probably agree if you think about it, fireworks kind of unnecessary. They look pretty. You can get silent fireworks.
Yeah.
The light pollution can affect birds. But that's probably better than these loud noises that are causing so much stress and suffering to all these, not just dogs and cats, wild animals as well.
No, it's true.
And the fumes the other day, I was literally walking in the park and all I could smell was firework fumes.
Yeah.
It's horrendous.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah. It's true. But I think a good starting point, though, is I will say that instead of having your own one,
go to a display.
Starting point, and then I think at some point,
it will
cut them out. Yeah. So, where can people find you again? I know we've mentioned it's up on the board there, right there. But
so at Doctor.
You mostly use Insta, don't you? You don't really use Facebook. You have a Facebook page.
I don't have a Facebook page. Because I thought I think I'm a nobody. I'm still very much a nobody. You're trying to make me a somebody, which is great. You're somebody, so that's good. But yeah, Dr. Iron Junkie. I post loads of food.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start posting more fitness stuff as well. I think just because I made the account originally for fitness a long time ago, back when no one had Instagram and I didn't even know how to use it back then. But now I think it's become a lot about the food.
It's so technical. I think anyone knows how to use it. Really, just post a picture. That's all you need to do. Really.
And anyone thinking of going vegan, there's the 21-day challenge or 22-day challenge you can find online. There's nutritionfacts.org for all the kind of science behind it.
Veganuary is coming up as well.
Veganuary is coming up. That's a big one. So a lot of people do it in January.
And the one last thing I'll say is one of the great things about Veganuary is that it's what it is. It's spurring the big brands to do something and start increasing their vegan ranges as well. There's another guy as well who's quite prolific on Twitter, Instagram, who posts a lot of videos. I don't know his name, but he was saying that when KFC launched a vegan burger or vegan whatever it was, he went to buy it. He was getting criticized by some of his followers saying, "But why are you buying from a big brand?" He goes,
"Not just big brand. They are responsible for killing billions of chickens."
Exactly.
That number of billions of chickens.
I do kind of agree a little bit with what he was saying there. Because if I'm buying their vegan stuff, I'm making a statement to them that actually, So maybe they'll stop killing less chickens and start making more of this stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so I think from that perspective, it's a good thing. So, but again, local places like the first place we went to was a cafe called Ahimsa, beautiful vegan food.
So Ahimsa Cafe in Pinner is
Oh man, they do some great stuff, and they're constantly increasing their range and stuff. They do desserts, they do pancakes, they do healthy, delicious vegan bowls, but they do burgers and chips now, and all sorts of stuff. You can get juices there, everything. Honestly, so good. I try and go there maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, because I want to spend money there. I'd rather spend it there than anywhere else.
Support your local vegan businesses a lot more than the big brands, because your local vegan businesses, they're the ones that need this money, and your big brands don't. But also, the trade-off is we need to support the big brands that are making vegan products, because we need to increase the supply.
Hence
the
why,
demand for vegan products.
Exactly. Hence why I do go to Wasabi a lot and eat wasabi, and they do some amazing vegan stuff, by the way, as well. Really good. Very high in calorie. If you have the vegan katsu, very high in calorie.
Oh, you're talking about Wagamamas.
Oh, sorry. What did I just say?
Wasabi.
Oh, wasabi. Sorry, I have Wagamamas. Yeah, big upon. They do. Well, actually, Wasabi do one as well. They do the vegan.
The vegan katsu curry at Wagamamas. I think it's 1,000 calories.
Yeah, you're right. I looked it up as well.
The meat one is similar. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. But that's a lot for a vegan dish, though. But it's all in the sauce, though. It's all in the sauce. So it's, I have to say, it's delicious.
I've had it once in my life.
Really? Oh my god!
This is a once in a lifetime.
They do the, they do the other one, the avant-garde, which is the vegan egg.
I need to try
that's a bit less. I think that's about 800-900 calories and stuff, and it's a lot more vegetables in there. So if you want to go for that, it's a really good option to have. What you do is you get the egg and you mix it all around with everything, and you eat it all together. I have to say, it's tasty as well, really good. But there's just something about that vegan katsu, which is just mwah. Lovely, delicious. And I think, you know what, we're gonna we could just literally waffle on about this for 8 hours.
We didn't even take any questions, if there were any. I don't even know if there were.
No, sorry, you're too late. Anyway, I asked all the questions, so no. But it's been do you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure. This guy, honestly, is becoming a legend, I think. I hope I can join his echelon in the physical capacity, definitely, for when I do the marathon. I know I've got my goals, my targets, and where I want to hit. And so, but you've done something, I think, you know what, don't minimize it. You've done something amazing. And you know what, keep doing it, brother, man. Seriously, you're gonna influence so many people to change not only how they think, then what they do as well. And ultimately, that's, you know, the goal, isn't it? Just kind of change hearts and minds so that people actually consider it, and then perhaps make a small shift, and then maybe even make a big shift. And seeing your results and what he's done and what he's achieved just makes people think, oh, sugar, if he can do it, maybe I can do it. So big up yourself, bro.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all for the animals. For your health and for the environment. Okay.
Exactly.
For me, it's mainly for the animals.
And it's going to be good for your health, good for the animals, good for the environment, and there's no real loss there at all whatsoever.
So, you know, make your choice.
Absolutely. So thank you again for coming down, man. It's been a real pleasure, honestly, definitely. And you know what? I think we're going to have another one again in the future. 100%.
Why not?
So
probably after the marathon. Why not?
Absolutely, definitely. I'm curious now to see what happens as well. But I know I've got my game plan in mind. Hopefully, I can start my running in about 2 weeks' time. I've had to kind of pause it for a little while, but I think I'll be there very soon, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't wait. So
cool.
So yeah, awesome. All right, cool. Thank you for everyone who joined in today. I think there's been a few interruptions. I think possibly this might be the last live Feel Inspired podcast that I do. There's just too many glitches, I think. But hopefully next time it'll be even bigger and better and badder and kick-ass. And we will see you on the next one. Alrighty. Dr. Iron Junkie. Follow him on Insta. Join him over there. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. Alrighty. Finished. There we go. And we're going to finish on YouTube. Bye, everyone. Ciao. End stream. And...